Big Balls Bob. Not to be confused with Tiny Balls Todd.
I do have a body. It's very fantastic. More of a temple, really, than a body.
I can't tell if he's doing a bit or not.
I'm glad you brought that point up because
Todd's a pussy.
It's right next to Todd's OnlyFans.
It's on the internet.
Yeah, Todd's not dumb. I tried to get in a high honors English class once, and they called my parents and were like, hey, just tell him he can't do it. It shows. It really shows. I'm a dumbass, and I'm sorry.
The first time you've been let out of mom's basement, right?
Oh, no, I'm still in mom's basement, actually.
I hate you guys so much.
I'm going to throw these two guys into the screen so that if I die, they can carry on the legacy of crap that is this show.
Hello, Green Bay Packer fans. Welcome into another edition of Lombardi's Bar. We are post-draft, which means the only thing we have to look forward to now is the clash of the Titans, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, at Lambeau, July 23rd. That is what we're all looking forward to now, the rest of this offseason. I don't know about you. That's the only thing I've got on my plate moving forward over the next month or two. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Dan Connick. I'm your bartender. We got a great show for you today. Obviously, lots to talk about post-draft. The guys and we had an amazing time for the draft. We want to tell you all about it. It was a lot of fun. Before we get into that, let's talk about our drink special for tonight. And it is in honor of the Packers' announcement of their London game, their trip overseas. Today's drink is the Tate and Crumpets. You sound like you're from London. What's in the tea and crumpets? It is a Mike's Hard lemonade. So we're doing a little bit of like an Arnold Palmer because we're going to do the Mike's Hard lemonade and some iced tea as well. Do a little bit of a Arnie Palmy situation, and then we'll pair that off with some of those biscuits from Ted Lasso. I plan on going to London for the game, and that is the one thing that I plan on making sure I do is track down the biscuits. I know he makes them himself, but you get it. I wanna find biscuits like from Ted Lasso. Let's bring in these two guys here, my co-conspirators down at. Well, Joe, it's the only thing I'm going to do now, isn't it? It's Todd and Jimmy. Come on in, gents.
I don't really want to do the show anymore.
Stop it. Right now.
So, soccer question. Are those two teams like big
Jimmy,
teams?
don't feed into this. Don't encourage it.
They're two of the biggest teams in Europe right now.
Not the world, though, so not that big of a
I'm
deal.
sorry. Is this Europe?
I don't know if he's frozen or upset.
Both.
Me?
Oh, you're moving now.
I'm going to have to tell my wife to stop watching MasterChef. No, if you're the two biggest teams in Europe, you're the biggest teams in the world.
I never really heard about them.
Again, is this a show about Europe?
It's a show. We're talking about something that's going on at Lambeau Field. This is a big deal for Lambeau and the Green Bay community. It's huge.
I'm not going to lie. The only thing that piqued my interest at all is when he put Ted Lasso in the drink thing. Besides that, I could not care less about this event.
That's fine. That's fine. I won't. I'm not going to say people need to, be super thrilled that a soccer game is happening.
No, but you're going to force people to talk about it against their will.
I think it's a historic event. It's the first soccer game at Lambeau Field. Thing's been around for over 100 years.
Alan Lazard has definitely played soccer at Lambeau Field.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a bunch of
true.
kids that kick the ball around here and there. Yep. It's not a big deal, Dan. Don't get excited about it. Let's talk about football before I just leave.
Deal. I already bought my tickets.
Real football.
Well, football.
Football Americano.
I'm still in Milwaukee, dude. I don't go to Georgia until next week. So I'm still.
Can you do a
week ahead of time? Might I add?
Accent?
Instead of going to the Brewer game on the 17th, you decided you're just going to move on the 15th. Real cool.
Todd, I have a wife and a child that I need to be there for.
One, there's two kids there. two.
I
They're
com-
both mine.
I just combine them into one.
I noticed that too. It's like there's only one child. The other one takes care of himself.
Honestly, the one is just still at that stage where you kind of just like set him there and he'll entertain himself. Hadley, I actually have to focus on because she'll fucking run out of the house.
Yeah.
Winston's too dumb still. He doesn't know how to open a door.
You're a very interesting combination of both of them because you're too dumb to open a door. But I swear to God, anytime I took my eyes off you this weekend, you were trying to do something awful.
Literally, every 15 minutes at max for our party on Friday, Todd's like, "What the fuck where do you
Where's
go?
Jimmy? Where's
Where the fuck
Jimmy?
do you go?" And you just see like some little like crop top bobbing around the thing. I don't know why my green screen is getting so messed up. But you see Jimmy just like, little crop top boop, 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 going through the crowd.
I tell you,
There's so many people. I wanted to
once
say
we
hi to
figured out
everybody.
to just keep giving him tasks, he was so like when I told him to start handing out beads. I mean,
I
he
did
was
that
like,
so
that was the key.
it was like telling a kid, like, "Hey, go do this, and I'll time you." Jimmy was like on it, and then he come back and be like, "I need more."
I did it fast, didn't I? You couldn't even get to like 20.
You were so good.
Thank you. What about those
He's-
koozies?
Easily the best bead hander outer that was there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Out of everyone handing out beads there, you were the best.
Thanks, man. That means a lot to me because I tried real hard. And like Todd's mentioned multiple times, I gravitate towards people who make fun of me, and those old men over there, me and them became best friends just because of the insults they gave me for my crop top, for I guess the weird things I was saying to them. It was a great time.
Okay, so let me ask, because I didn't get to join you guys for the day after on Saturday. How was the rest of your day in the Queen City, Cincinnati? How was it?
My body was shutting down.
We went to lunch downtown, and then I basically was just babysitting Jimmy, so I tried to tire him out so he would want to take a nap. I let him play basketball at the bar that we were at for a while. Then I walked him around, just walked him around the neighborhood we were in for a little bit.
With one of those leashes.
Yep. And then I was like, "Hey, man, you want to just head back to the hotel for a bit?" And he's like, "Uh-huh, yeah." And it was no problem, but it's a lot of work keeping track of Jimmy. If I had $1 for every time I had to tell him to stop doing something or to stop touching something, and at one point he did say, "I'm just looking," as he was holding on to something that I was telling him to put down. And I actually said, "Well, Jimmy, look with your eyes."
Look with your eyes, buddy.
And then I hated everything about who I've become.
It was fun. But that's the thing. Todd's giving me shit for being a little kid. When we were in the hotel room, I could not leave like the area with the 2 beds without Todd jumping out and scaring me. Like it was multiple times I go to the bathroom. One time I was peeing and he just went behind me and started barking at me.
Don't pee with the door open.
Scared. It was cracked open. You couldn't see me pee. I was going in and out real fast.
It was
And then
all the way open. I've got video of it to prove it.
anyways, then there's the time he was hiding under a desk. He was hiding in a closet at one point. He was hiding in the other bathroom. And when I walked by, jumped out and scared me. Like I could not, you said you couldn't keep your eyes, or like you had to keep your eyes on me. I had to watch you at all times because the next thing I knew, you're jumping out or making a noise.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fine.
Yeah.
I'd been cooped up too long.
All right, let's talk about football. Enough of Todd's game.
Let's talk about football. Obviously, the draft last week. Several new Packers joining the fold here. Yeah, Todd is a lurker. That's confirmed.
Big lurk energy.
Big lurk energy. I mean, I was on the podcast earlier this week and they're asking like if I watched the whole thing. I barely got to watch like any of that stuff on Friday because we were so busy, hobnobbing and glad handing with everybody at Max. But overall, I thought everything that I watched with the draft and looking back on it, it was a solid Gutekunst draft. And that's kind of like what you always expect. It's not going to blow you away, but he did pretty much everything you kind of needed him to do,
Yeah, I think he checked all the boxes.
I thought it was a great draft. It was one where Todd said we checked all the boxes. Rodgers and Gutey agreed on the 6 wide receivers they thought were first round talent. They were all gone. And at that point, they went to solidify their defense. And out of all the last few seasons, like, you need a strong defense to win the Super Bowl. I guess the only one you could argue is when the Chiefs won it, but they have Patrick Mahomes and they had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. That's just a trifecta you're not going to find on many teams. Our defense is going to be really good next year. We pretty much kept everybody. We upgraded our linebacker position. Our defensive line, Kenny Clark, finally has some help on the interior. And then in the later rounds, we went for big bodies again, like usual. We got some wide receivers in the 7th round, but Todd said he hit every box. I thought it was an incredible draft.
Yeah, Labo mentions it not only taking defense, but taking defensive players from maybe one of the best college defenses that we've seen in like the last 10, 15, 20 years, maybe, that Georgia defense. Like, if you want wide receivers, go to Ohio State. If you want defensive players, go to Georgia. You know, like, that's just what they produce.
Yeah. Does it concern you guys at all that, I mean, there was 5 first-round picks off of that defense? I mean, you're an offense, especially at the college level, like, when you've got that much talent on the other side of the ball, you can only match up so many ways against it. Does it concern you guys at all that maybe it was more the sum of their parts than each of them being that good?
But they're going to, I don't know, because they're going to an NFL roster where even probably the worst starter would be on most defensive lines would be one of the top guys in college. So, like, they're still going to a defense that has the best talent around. Like, they're in the NFL. So I don't know if all the Georgia people will pan out, but I think putting him in a situation where he doesn't need to be one of the star guys, like, both of them, Kenny Clark is the top guy on the defensive line, so we don't need Wyatt for that.
I am really sorry about that. My dog has never made that noise in my life. I thought she was dying. What the hell was that?
I was concerned as well.
I thought a ghost was in one of your houses. Or mine, honestly.
There is one here, actually. Can confirm.
I have no clue what that was.
I loved it, though.
Scared the shit out of me what it did. But the thing with the Georgia defense, like, people say that about all of those, like, the skill position players for, like, Alabama and stuff, like the wide receivers and the running backs and stuff like that. It's like, well, there's so much talent around, how much, like, and you're never going to hit on every single draft position or, pick from a team like that comes out. But more than not, those guys pan out to at least be starting level players in the NFL, you know? And the thing with it too is, like, we kind of hit on, these aren't exactly like huge positions of need. It's not like we're drafting Quay Walker to come out and be the starting middle linebacker for the Packers next year. You know, Devontae, he's not going to come out and Devontae Wyatt, he's not going to come out and be expected to take Kenny Clark style snap loads, you know? So I think that's a real benefit of the way that this team drafts, is that you give guys like this with a lot of talent a little bit of space and leeway to make mistakes and grow. And instead of kind of throwing them into the fire where you kind of see guys wash out like that because they get put into bad positions early on and they just never really recover from it.
Do you think we're going to see more of the Tampa Bay style defense now with, like, having 2 inside linebackers that, if Walker pans out, can be extremely talented, like they have with David and Devin White? Like, because last year, I think I read Chris Barnes had, like, it was either like 26 or 28% of the defensive snaps. Like, I have a feeling investing in a first round pick, he's going to get more than 28% of the defensive snaps. Or do you think it really is, we just want those 28% of the snaps to be better than it was with Chris Barnes?
I think he's going to just be used as, like, a weapon. I think Joe Barry's going to just have fun with him, not put him into, like, I think like what you're saying, like the Tampa style role where he's not necessarily having to play like a starting linebacker position and, like, have those responsibilities like Campbell does as a starting linebacker. He just has to go out and be put into different positions to succeed, you know? And I think that's the biggest upside for him, is that he gets to kind of just be his role isn't really defined yet. He gets to kind of figure out where that role is, and that's going to be fun to watch over the summer.
Yeah, I think so too with those guys. Having them come in where, Wyatt up front, he's going to get to rotate through. It's not like they're leaning on him to make the same impact that a lot of teams rely on their first round picks. You kind of look back to Rashawn Gary in his rookie season, like just get a feel for the game, man. We're going to get you some snaps and get you out there, but we're not going to put you in huge situations if you're not ready for it. I think with Wyatt and Walker, we'll see something very similar to that. I would expect the snap count. I mean, if he's ready to play and NFL, ready, I would expect Walker to see more than 28% of the snaps this year. And just because I think he brings more to the table than Chris Barnes does.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely.
I think one of the biggest things too is we saw how much Mark Andrews just killed us that Ravens game, even with the backup quarterback. And that's one of the things that people said about Walker is that he's good in coverage. Like that's going to be something that hopefully will change how teams can kind of just eat us up with their tight ends. So when we go against the George Kittles, who always does well against us, or like I said, Mark Andrews, hopefully make it to the Super Bowl and can kick Travis Kelce's ass. Just like, I don't know. I think they fit in well. Who do you think out of those two, though, who do you think makes the biggest impact in their rookie season? Obviously, this is a way too early prediction. We haven't seen them in camp, whatever, but just gut reaction, who makes a bigger difference?
I think Walker.
I feel like he's going to be more noticeable just because linebackers are in space more.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Wyatt, just having more talent up front. We've seen, Kenny can only do so much. And when you look at what he's been able to do with, the studs out of that absolutely terrifying Northwestern defense of Lancaster and Lowry up there. I mean, you actually give him real talented guys to play next to, what he's going to, see in less attention will benefit him greatly.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Wyatt's role, to compare him to the offensive guy, I really think he's going to be like the Alan Lazard of the defense. Like he's going to do the dirty work. He's not going to have the sexy stats, but like Todd said, he's going to open up holes for either Campbell or Walker to go through. He's going to take some blockers away. So him and Kenny Clark are going to make it easier on Rashawn and Preston on their pass rushes. So I think he might have the bigger impact, but I don't think it's going to show that on the stats. He's kind of just going to be the Alan Lazard, do the dirty work. But the defense is going to function much better when he's playing at the level that the Packers hope he can.
Yeah. Let's get into a little Pickett. I love that. Let's get into a little buy around. I'll kick it off we've talked a little bit about it already, but I have to buy around for everybody at Max Pizza Pub down in Covington, Kentucky, home of the the Greater Cincinnati Cheesehead Group, or I forget what exactly
Packer
the name
Fan
was.
Club.
Packer Fan Club of Greater Cincinnati. I mean, everyone there welcomed us with amazing open arms. Like I did not expect I expected the turnout because it's a big Packer event, just for the draft itself. I did not expect as many people there to just be like so engaging and open with us, So we're definitely making a trip down sometime this season when the schedule gets released. We're going to figure that out, but we have to get down for a game because the atmosphere there, just for the second and third round of the draft, was amazing. So shout out again to Max.
Absolutely. And, I mean, they were so welcoming, not just the fans that were there. Donna, who is a manager and also the daughter of the owner, she actually moved her vehicle and gave us one of their reserved parking spots.
Yeah.
Because she was going to be leaving early. She was like, "Oh, I'll just go move my vehicle. You guys can have that." I was like, "I mean, we just need to unload some stuff and then I can no, that's fine." So from the second we walked in the door, Jimmy made friends right away because we walked in the door and saw the guys that hated him. So naturally he had to hang out there. But the second we walked into the other part of the bar, the hosting was fantastic.
next time we're there, I know we gave shirts out and stuff, but I think we have to give out a couple crop tops next time. So hopefully I'm not the only one wearing one. But I cannot wait. I can't explain how excited I am to get down there for a game, because like you said, it was just the second and third round of a draft to have all those people, how excited everyone was just to talk about the Packers. Right. So I can't wait for an actual season game. Yeah, that was so much fun. Everyone was super cool. I can't wait to get back there. And we might have a new podcast person just from that event.
Maybe.
Yes.
Oh,
damn, just you wait, Dan. Yeah, you ditched us early, jerk.
All right, well, Jimmy, who are you buying around for?
We've hit on it a lot, so I'm gonna just take a second to say it. But fans of great defense, because this Packers defense, I really think is going to be one of the top ones in the league. I really think we have the chance to have a dominant defense that we have not had for a long time. Last year we saw that in the playoff game where our offense sucked ass, but I think the weapons we're adding to that is just incredible. I think our defense is going to be the best in the league, and that's just going to help Aaron Rodgers more, get the ball in his hand more, and score some points. But that defense, man, it's going to be crazy.
Shah.
I agree.
Hey,
Todd?
I'm going to go with Colts general manager Chris Ballard. Jimmy and I, on our way down to Cincinnati on Thursday night, we were listening to Pat McAfee's live broadcast, and Chris was kind enough, they didn't have a first round pick, but he was kind enough to take an interview from inside their war room, yeah. Which, as we know, like, that's the most sacred guarded space there is. And during that interview, they asked him, like, do other teams kind of have a feel for what other teams are looking to do and who they're looking at? Or are they just reading the tea leaves like everyone else? And Chris Ballard said, and I quote, "Nobody has a fucking idea what anyone else is doing." Which is, I think it's great because it helps temper expectations as we look at some of these guys. And you take a guy like Nakobe Dean, who everybody's like, "Oh my God, what a steal in the third round. This is incredible." Draft experts said Nakobe Dean was going to go very high in the draft. There are 32 teams who have entire departments committed to scouting these guys out and figuring out where they go. And all 32 of those teams said he wasn't worth a first or a second round pick. So I think just something to temper expectations as we kind of look at these guys as they come out, like, they went where they went for a reason. And while I think it's okay to look at a guy like Dean and go, okay, he's, had pretty much every award a linebacker can get in college football, there have been a lot of guys with really decorated college careers that got drafted late or were just absolute busts in the NFL for one reason or another. So I like that he brought that up. Just one, I think it's funny to think that, like, if no team knows what another team is thinking or doing, then truly all the information that we get is coming straight from agents, just leaking stuff about their new clients, trying to bump up their draft stock, which is fantastic. And I think, as we move forward, just remember that they're like, every good little story you hear, or every team that's interested in somebody, that's coming from an agent that's just trying to build some interest in their guy. So I liked, one, just him being super candid and giving that interview, but just finding out that, like, yeah, nobody knows a thing.
Can I just piggyback on Todd's and jump right into our pay the tab then? Because I feel like those two are somewhat connected.
I would think so. Why don't you go ahead, Jimmy?
So for the idea of people just knowing how these players are and what they're going to be in the NFL and having their better than everybody else's predictions and thoughts on the draft, just because you quote unquote do this for a living and we are not the same. Douchebag Peter Bukowski. That's by far one of the douchiest things I've ever read on Twitter. Giant chotch. You can pay the tab this time. I don't care. You're an idiot. You don't really do this for a living. Like, you're not a general manager. You're not an NFL scout. You're a person that you write articles. I can look at pff.com and say this person is going to be good and bad too, or watch a highlight thing on YouTube and talk out of my ass. And that's for a lot of people, but he was just the one that stood out and just a giant douche. And I think he's trying to get into this new Skip Bayless character of the Packers Twitter or something, but holy fuck, what a horrible weekend for that dumbass.
Well, and what I think it was, and where it really kind of shines through is, like I said, we've got these experts out there that they're going to bash a team's draft because it didn't follow their board. And it's like, how many of these experts go to workouts and, with these guys and sit down in meetings with the prospects and go through that whole process with them? None, not many get that opportunity. And I mean, that was just it. I mean, it was something where the board didn't fall the way that Peter thought it was supposed to. And instead of just being like, I was off, I saw this differently, he just doubled down on being an asshole to people. And I know, really, it kind of caught me off guard.
That's the thing. Like, if you want to defend your idea, that is fine. But it's just that, like, holier than thou, I'm so much smarter than you because I put a lot of gel in my hair attitude is just something like I just don't get. And like, I try not to be mean to people on Twitter besides Todd and Aaron, but at some point it's just like, dude, you got to dial it back because one day someone's going to see you in person and punch you in the throat. Like, it's inevitable. Packers Twitter is going to intersect that sometime.
Is that a threat, Jimmy? Is that a threat?
I have an on-site list and he might be on it.
An on-site list. Todd, what about you? Who needs to pay the tab?
I'm going to go with Darnell Savage. As we said, most of the boxes were checked. I believe earlier I did say all boxes were checked, and I think all immediate needs were. But Darnell Savage, without a safety getting drafted in this class, Darnell Savage really needs to step up. I don't know that he took the step forward last year a lot of people were hoping for. If he wants to stick around in Green Bay, I mean, that safety position is one right now that if he doesn't take a step forward this season, it might be in trouble.
I mean, especially with what was it? It was Friday, picked up the 5th-year option for him. So that's a commitment from the Packers saying, you're somebody, he's the safety essentially that they're going to build the future of the defense around. At the safety position in terms of that. So yeah, you're right. There's the expectation should be set there. And I think the last year, especially, like you said, just not the season you kind of want to see from a guy like that was his 3rd year, right? 3rd year as a pro.
Well, and I mean, Jimmy brought up the Ravens game. I mean, Mark Andrews absolutely just ate him for lunch.
Yeah.
So I believe in him. I think he's a damn good ball player.
Just needs to show it each week.
I thought that they would, jump in there. I don't know that Henry Black needs to see the amount of snaps again next season, but I definitely want to see Darnell Savage take a step forward.
Are you guys disappointed at all that the Honey Badger didn't work out? Because that was kind of the thing for a little bit there, the storyline that he might come here to Green Bay and, be this kind of weird little third addition to that safety room. Does that do anything for him? Does that move the needle at all?
It would have been great. I would have loved to see it. But I mean, he wants to go chase rings, join just absolutely stacked teams. So I guess go for it.
I think I would have loved for him to be on my team or on the Packers, but I think part of it is I think Darnell Savage's best route in the NFL is kind of being like a honey badger, like not your typical safety, being able to go around and just kind of make those flash plays. So I think we need someone back there who is more consistent with Amos, and then Savage can kind of move around and just be the freak athlete that he is. So I think honestly, if we had Matthews, that might take away from Savage's kind of progression in that area. I think I know we have a thing coming up in a little bit saying like, what else do the Packers need to do? But that's the big thing. Get a third safety that you trust, that you can have out there. I know they drafted Carpenter, but even LaFleur said he's going to be going to linebacker. So he's not really someone you can have back there. So just finding someone to be that consistent role next to Amos and allowing Savage to just run his freak self all around the field.
Yeah, I think Carpenter is going to fit into the Oren Burks replacement. So I'm going to do my absolute best to not hate the guy from the jump. He can't be more of a letdown, I don't think. So I'm going to hold strong. Big Tariq Carpenter fan right here.
Todd, speaking of players that you're a fan of, what did you think of the Mason Crosby, Pat O'Donnell video, the Step Brothers video? Did you see that?
I didn't see the video. I just saw the picture. Good for them. Glad they're having fun. Whatever. I don't give a shit.
Todd literally called him multiple different names this time.
Yes.
I would mention punters to Todd. He'd be like, I don't give a shit about Jim O'Connell. And I was like, who's Jim O'Connell? I was like, isn't that
Just,
a punter?
it was just random Irish sounding names.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to learn this guy's name. I don't care. Stop punting the ball.
Soon you're just going to be like, I don't care what Conor McGregor's doing. As long as he's punting fine.
Patches O'Houlihan.
Yeah, it's fine.
My beta tab is I said this at Max when we were talking about this, so I'm just going to steal it again and repurpose it for the live audience here.
Wow, original content.
All of the quarterbacks in this draft for not being better, so that this draft could have broken out a different way. I'm happy with how we did in the draft in terms of how the draft broke out. If wide receivers gotten pushed back because these quarterbacks were actually halfway decent and teams wanted to draft them early on, then I would have expected and been disappointed if a wide receiver hadn't been taken with one of those first round picks. But those quarterbacks were so terrible that everybody had to go on a run of wide receivers, trade big name wide receivers just to go up and draft wide receivers. So thank you to Desmond Ridder and I don't even know who was that bingo from North Carolina, Sam Howell, who didn't even go to like the 5th round. Thanks for freaking nothing, North Carolina. Anyway, that's my pay the tab.
Who do you think out of the quarterbacks is going to have the best chance to succeed in the NFL?
None of them.
That's the right answer. That's the correct one.
Usually, even when it's a bad quarterback class, there's still like one or two that are like top 5, top 10 guys. Honestly, I think the Steelers probably could have got Kenny Pickett in the 2nd round.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
That was wild to just see, like, and then what was it? The 3rd round before another quarterback went. Okay, thanks for being good, guys. Like, why are you even drafting a quarterback this year at that point?
Yeah.
Like,
Joe, I just saw this thing from Iowa Joe. Can you put in the chat a little more detail on that? Because unless you two know, I did not see that. I also was more concerned about Todd scaring me, so I didn't look at it too much. But I didn't know they had a deal in place with Houston. Did you know?
I was with you all weekend. You know every thought I had.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. Nothing rings a bell for me about that. I don't know.
I like that one.
Yeah, we'll get to Bob McGinn. Actually, why don't we get to Bob McGinn really quick? Because
yes, let's go.
He is my drunk tweet of the week. So, Nick, please throw up our drunk tweet of the week. This freaking jackass. First off, it took me a second to realize. Well, actually, it took me someone like tweeting at me about him leaving the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and realizing that this article is written for golongtd.com. Boy, how the mighty have fallen, Bob. I should have grabbed. There was someone took a screen. I think Pack Daddy took a screenshot of the first paragraph, and it was a doozy, man. I mean, this guy just ripping on Brian Gutekunst for apparently not trading away all of his draft capital to go up and get Chris Olave. Like it screams of a guy that either literally has no idea how the draft should work, which, against my better judgment, I'm going to give McGinn the benefit of the doubt that he actually knows what he's talking about. And so that means he's willfully being ignorant and just being a complete fire starter because he needs people to remember that he still exists. So congratulations, Bob, for reminding us all.
Do you want that first paragraph?
Please.
Based on his lackluster track record, maybe it was too much to expect general manager Brian Gutekunst to work the board, fully utilize his extensive draft capital, and come away from the NFL draft with a solution to the Green Bay Packers' blatant need at wide receiver. Instead, Gutekunst waited when he should have pounced in round 1, and then pounced when he should have waited in round 2.
Okay.
There was no other wide receiver taken from when they picked, at, what was it, 22 or 23?
Mm-hmm.
From their first pick until they took Christian Watson, there was no other wide receiver taken there. And there was no other viable second round options left at wide receiver when they would have picked in the second round.
And
he did exactly what they needed to do.
Yeah.
And here's the best part about this logic. Christian Watson was drafted at 34, literally a pick separated away from the first round. So by Bob McGinn's logic, if Brian Gutekunst had traded away, let's say, another third round, fourth round pick to move up 2 spots into the first round,
stud,
which, as Todd was saying,
absolute monster,
a possibly stupid idea because a wide receiver was not going to be picked in between then and when Watson was picked. By Bob McGinn's logic, Brian Gutekunst successfully addressed the glaring hole at his wide receiver position.
This is probably the worst thing. Didn't read the article.
Oh,
I have no intentions on reading the article.
Oh, wow.
If I was not scared of Jacob yelling at me, I would drop the C word right now to describe Bob McGinn. If that's what he's going to do
next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's insane. I don't know. And it's not like all these trades always work out the way you want. I talked to Todd and Aaron about this on Brand Off Topic. Listen to it on Tuesdays. Shameless plug. I was listening to the NFL, the Ringer NFL podcast, and they said that the Eagles traded up to the 13th pick to get Jameson Williams. Like, that was their goal, to get him. And then the Lions sniped him, jumped in front of him at 12 and took Jameson Williams. So, like, what if that's the thing? The Packers jump up, they have this trade in, and then just another team jumps ahead of them. So, like, that stuff doesn't always work out.
Right.
Like, the way it ended up working out for them, they got Jordan Davis and then traded for A.J. Brown. They ended up having a great draft. But it's not like all of a sudden trading all these picks is going to make everything go according to plan. I think getting 2 studs on your defense, getting Christian Watson, who you're willing to trade up to number 32 to get, like, it works out. The man, I really think he's going to be a great wide receiver. He's huge. He's fast. Like, it's awesome.
And like I said at the party, if that's the guy that this front office targeted to move up for and get at wide receiver, then I trust them that they've done their work and that this guy is going to work out. You know, that's the other thing with a lackluster track record. Like, I'm obviously not going to read this article and give Bob McGinn the luxury of a click, but I would love to hear the explanation of what he thinks is a lackluster track record. He drafted essentially an all-pro cornerback and maybe one of the best versatile offensive linemen in the league. Drafted A.J. Dillon when everyone called him, crazy for it. Where's the lackluster part? I'm struggling to find. He drafted your starting center this year. Where are you? Like, where's he getting the lackluster track record?
And he's kept most of the big players.
Yeah.
Wasn't he Savage and Gary as well?
Savage and Gary, yes. So
lackluster.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? What does it take? What does it take for Bob McGinn to go, wow, that was an exciting draft? You take Christian Watson at 32 instead of 34?
I mean, if you want to argue about his like late day 2, day 3 picks, that's fine. But then you have to make that bears the fact then that he hits pretty well on those early first round, second round picks. And so again, by Bob McGinn's logic, the guys that you say aren't going to be part of the, helping this wide receiving core, Christian Watson, Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker, those guys are going to be picks based on what you're saying. So Bob McGinn is just a walking asshole.
I love what Nick put in the private chat where he said, people also seem to forget that other teams can reject Packer trade offers. So it's not like it's like Madden where you turn off automatic trades. Like they can say no to these.
Right. These guys, they have personal agendas. You know what I mean? They can say, I don't want to trade with you right now. I don't want to do.
Speaking of that, how I know what you guys' reaction was, but again, there was a lot going on. How about the Vikings doing us a solid and letting us jump up to grab a wide receiver, knowing full well that that was what was needed?
I mean, they did that for us and the Lions. They let them.
Yeah. I mean, the Lions, it doesn't matter. They've proven they can have Hall of Fame talent on their team, and it's not going to make a fucking difference.
Hey, but now they got Motor City Dan Campbell, and that man is the best.
Watch your kneecaps, kids.
Yeah, the Vikings, it's a strategy. I give them that.
It's a strategy.
It's a strategy. Let your biggest competition in the NFC North jump in front of you and fill the biggest need on their team with someone that has a lot of upside.
I guess it's Minnesota nice. It's a real thing.
Yeah, that's all they had to say.
You guys need a wide receiver? Here, take our pick.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah. They Mark put in the thing.
Don't forget to get a little hot dish on your way out.
There's an interesting thing in the chat there from Mark. Apparently that Minnesota had the 32nd pick. And apparently
we wanted to take that.
Offered the same trade, but didn't want it to prevent the Packers from getting a 5th year on Watson, which heady play. Yeah. I fair play to the Vikings if that's
if I'm them, I'm saying no, and I'm drafting Christian Watson, knowing that that's what they want to do. I'm saying no, and I'm drafting either that, or I would say, let's do this for the 34th tomorrow. We'll make that deal. Okay, cool. 32nd pick, Christian Watson. Figure it out. Be petty, Minnesota. You have nothing else going for you. You can't. You're nothing. At least run the role of spoiler.
And they do need an exit plan from Thielen. Thielen's good, but eventually he's going to be dwindling. He's
in the twilight of his career.
Yeah.
He's on the second half.
So
producer Nick said they also didn't want to trade the 32nd pick because it's the only time they'll ever have that.
Buzzing.
And let's remember, it came by way of the Lions.
Yeah. Tim, Kentucky.
Welcome in, Tim. All right, let's talk about next for the team after the draft here. I want to ask it this way. What's a position, what's a move or something that you're hoping the Packers make here post-draft? After we see everything shake out, we see the rosters before, this is what the rosters are before training camp, basically. What's the move, what's the play that you're hoping you see from the Packers between now and training camp?
I want to see another safety come in.
Yeah.
I mentioned that with Darnell Savage and Pay the Tab. I just don't see enough talent. Our starters are fantastic. I think it was Andy Herman that tweeted about it yesterday, that outside of the top 5 defensive backs, it's kind of thin and kind of scary.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hate to see another established safety come in.
What if and that's with corner too, like you said, the top 5 guys we have: Razul, Stokes, Jair. What is the thought of a super cheap Kevin King? You're our 4th corner.
Let's go. Let's go. Pro Bowl, Kevin King. Let's do it this year.
I would say to kind of go to the same thing of that, just for depth, I would say defensive end, bringing in an edge rusher, bringing in a veteran like we did last year with Merciless. Just someone, because it's the same thing there. We're one injury away from having number 50. I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name. Kingsley that we just drafted. or Ramsey, Garvin, like
Stippa.
they'd be playing significant time. So I think just bringing in another veteran edge rusher is going to be really important for that defense. And these are moves though. Like I know we say this is what we want to see happen, but I am weirdly very confident that Gutey is going to bring in another safety. He's going to bring in some cornerback depth, like whether it's after cuts happen in camp or what. But I think those are the biggest needs right now on defense for sure.
Yeah. Do you think that Walker kind of gets put into an emergency kind of pass rush role at times? Kind of like how we talked about with like Merciless was, he wasn't an edge rusher really. He was sort of a linebacker that was really good at rushing, could kind of get put into those positions. Do you think that Walker kind of sees time there?
I don't know, because draft experts told me that Kingsley was supposed to be drafted in the 3rd round, so he's probably going to be a fucking beast.
Did they do it for a living though? Because I don't trust it unless they do it for a living.
You're not the same as them, Jimmy, so it doesn't matter.
I don't think so. I think with where he's at right now, they want to get him as much experience as possible in the position that they want him to be in. So like maybe an emergency situation, but I think that's like last resort, because you want him to just grow as much as he can next to Devondre Campbell, soak in all that knowledge from an all-pro, and then kind of let him thrive. But I like what Labo put in the chat, having a Melvin Ingram kind of come in as your third edge rusher, give a break to Gary and Preston. I think that'd be great.
So let me ask, if it comes down between a decision of edge rusher or veteran wide receiver.
Edge rusher.
One edge rusher?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think with wide receiver right now, I think we roll into camp and let that play out. And if we aren't comfortable with where it is at that point, maybe a draft camp cut or we make a trade then. But with the amount of people we have in there right now, we have like 7 people that could make this team. And I think you just have to give them the most opportunity possible, because a lot of them are young. Besides Lazard, so we have Lazard, Watkins, Cobb, and then it's a bunch of young guys with Watson. We have Amari Rogers from last year.
Hey,
Romeo.
Jimmy,
shut the fuck up.
Tulio's not talking about you.
Yeah.
Dan and I are making sense. You're not.
Yeah. I'm just rambling. You guys, you made some good points.
Okay, so the one I kind of, this is so far away from even really being an important decision, but it's one that I'm interested to see when it happens, especially after June 1st, because Mason Crosby is sitting here and everyone's kind of just assuming that he's going to stick around as the kicker. And I don't care how many cute videos you make with Pat O'Donnell, which were fun. That's fun. I love Mason, and I'm sorry, Nick, and sincerest apologies to your wife. But there's a real chance that we don't see Mason Crosby kick for the Packers anymore. If we get into training camp, and once you get past June 1st, that becomes a very enticing cut to save. I think it's close to $2 million. They have that Molson protected on the practice squad almost every week last year. You don't do that unless you are expecting him to be coming around and making a play for a starting job in training camp. So
I think the biggest thing with that is going to be not breaking the strong relationship they've just built with Aaron Rodgers. Like, if that's going to rub Aaron Rodgers the wrong way, I think you got to suck it up for another year, because both Rodgers and Gutey said their relationship is night and day. And I think that's what gives Cobb an automatic lock on the team. And if Rodgers is going to have that same want for Crosby, I think that gives him an automatic lock.
But if we have
I just want somebody that can kick the damn ball into the end zone on kickoffs.
Yeah.
If your special teams is going to be as bad as the Packers is and has been, why aren't we giving teams just a touchback? Like, hey, we're not even try to cover you because we're terrible at it. Let's just put it in the end zone and get our defense out here.
Trade a 3rd-round pick for McPherson from the Bengals. Guaranteed points. I stand by that. We suck at 3rd round.
They're not going to trade him, Jimmy. The Bengals aren't going to trade him. So just shut up.
2nd round pick, 1st round pick. I don't care at this point. Give me another 15 years of successful kicking.
Yeah. Let's jump into our bar bets here for our. I mean, I guess this is our. Was this the start of our new season now?
No.
Of bar bets, or are these kind of just for funsies?
Funsies.
They're all
funsies?
just for funsies, guys.
Says the
Yeah,
guy.
Todd, if you don't want to do your punishment, I
Who-
cannot tell you
Yeah.
not to.
Yeah, Jimmy, you don't get to talk on this one.
That's why I just said I'm out of this discussion.
As I said, I'm a man of my word. I will do this. I've got no
Mhm.
issue with it.
I'm a man of my word too, unless my wife's mad.
Here's the thing. One thing that I don't think a lot of people realize that COVID killed is the 24-hour diner. There's not a ton of them around.
Are you sure?
Every place that I know of that was a 24-hour diner in Madison is no longer a 24-hour diner.
Hey, baby Howie.
Yeah, he's upset.
So I've looked at a few other places, but I'm not going
We're gonna
super out of my way to figure this out.
We'll figure it out, Todd. If nothing else, you're gonna go to a place that's open 12 hours a day, twice back to back.
Or I'll just go somewhere that's open for 12 hours and force myself to eat 24 pancakes to get out of there.
That's also we'll
George
be planning.
Webb's. Do you not have a George Webb's by you?
No.
Waffle
Go to
House. Like,
Milwaukee.
where's there's
I don't
no
live in the
Waffle House
South,
near you?
Dan.
They're everywhere.
They're
Not
not.
Milwaukee.
They're all over Ohio.
That's because
Well,
you guys are trash.
because Ohio thinks they're part of the South.
Yeah, well, I can't argue with you with that. All right, our first bar bet of the day. Romeo Doubs. Will we see him make the initial week 1 roster? Because I feel like he's kind of out of the wide receiving class. Christian Watson, that's a lock. So then you got Christian Watson, Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins, Amari Rogers,
Lazard.
Does Doubs fit into there at all?
I think,
Do you
I think
keep
Doubs
6 at all?
absolutely does. I think Tour is even a more questionable guy than Doubs is. But I'm going to say 5 Bakhtiaris. Yeah, Doubs makes it.
Is it Doubs or Dobbs?
From what I saw, Doubs.
Dubs? The Dub?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow Todd. I'm gonna say 5 Bakhtiaris. Yes, I actually think Watkins is one of them that's on the outs. I know Rogers liked him, but also we saw what happened with Devin Funchess. If they think, even if you're a veteran and they don't think that you can do as much as these young guys, and especially with Watkins, he's not going to be a player that is going to give you much on special teams. All these young guys are hungry to make the roster. They'll do whatever, whether it's kickoff return, punt, like they're in it to make a spot. So I'm going to go yes.
Okay, let's run through these because
yeah, you got to go take care of it,
I was
baby.
upset. 4 Bakhtiaris, yes, he makes the roster. 3 offensive linemen drafted in this draft. How many make the roster? I'm going to say only one of these. I don't know which one, but I'm only going to take one of these offensive linemen making the roster after training camp.
I'm going to say 2. Zach Tom does not make it because he's got 2 first names, and I absolutely hate that. Also, I heard I didn't look into this. Did the Bears draft someone named Zachary Thomas?
Yeah.
Interesting. We got a Zach Tom. They got a Zachary Thomas. I don't like either of them.
I'm going to say 2. I think it's going to be the guy from UCLA, Ryan, and then also Zach Tom are going to make it. I don't know so much about Walker. It kind of depends. I think he'll be a practice squad guy, but I don't think he'll be on the active roster. 3
Big fan of Walker being the guy that had the humping video.
Yeah.
I was pretty stoked when I saw that.
All right, who leads the team in targets this year? I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's Christian Watson. I'm gonna say 3 Bakhtiaris, and I'll say it's Watson leads the team in targets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go 5 Bakhtiaris, Lazard. I know he came on slow last year. It took a while for Rodgers to really kind of start looking his way. But December, January, those two had one hell of a connection going on. So that's I'm gonna go 5 Bakhtiaris, Lazard.
I'm gonna go. Oh, that's a tough one. I might actually go Tunyon. I think Tunyon could be a big vocal point for this offense. It's someone Rodgers definitely already trusts. If Cobb's not seeing the field much, I think Tonyan's going to kind of be a safety blanket. Obviously not to the extent Devontae Adams was, but I think it's going to be Lazard and him are going to be getting targeted a lot. And we saw how wide open they schemed up Tonyan when he was healthy. And I think we could see that again with him missing pretty much a full year last year. Teams might kind of forget about him, and he could make a big splash.
So you think he's ready for week 1?
Tonyan? I think so. I think he was injured early enough.
Cool.
We'll see. All right, guys. I got to bounce. I got to go do dad stuff. Appreciate everyone watching, taking the time. If you're not doing so already, make sure you're following us on Twitter at GameOnWI and at Lombardi's Bar. Subscribe on the YouTube page so you get notified every time we and any of our other shows on the website go live. Right down here, Twitter handles for all 3 of us. Check us out on there. It's where we post all of our good stuff. Tim, you are very welcome. We will be coming back to Max very, very soon. Shout out to you guys again. Thank you for having us on Friday. For producer Nick, for Todd Varney, for Jimmy Crimson, Dan Connick signing off, everybody, saying thank you. Cheers, and go Pack Go.
Go Pack.